you know, rough demonstration of what the horse's spine looks like. So depending on where the blocks are, the shapes change. So the neck, they're much like blocks next to each other, so there's lots of movement. Yeah, does that make sense? So that's why they can move their neck around a lot. And then as the spine goes down towards your back, you start getting these long things called spines, which are right on top. So if I'm a bone, you've got rings coming out the side and my head is the spine. And that's coming right one next to the other like this. So if you imagine in this area, the movements forwards and back are quite limited because you've got these long spines and they'd be butting up against each other. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's why it gets a little bit more stiff in that part of the back. Now as you get further down the back, the spines get a little bit shorter. The bones change in a way that's not really relevant to you guys, but they change, and you get a little bit more movement, so you sideways bend. Yeah, so that's something you guys are always wanting. You're wanting a horse that looks nice on a curve, and most of that comes from this area of your back, where the spines get a little bit shorter. So you could obviously understand that the shape and length of your saddle can make a really big difference to how much your horse can bend, just on that basic level that you're limiting the amount of movement the spine has. It's already pretty stiff, so if you go and sit it there, you're not really giving the horse much of a chance. Okay? And then haven't really done much on the back end, but basically it's again block work, but really, really tightly stuck together. It doesn't really move a great deal at all. So I always imagine this bit like one big block. Okay? So you know when you're talking about getting your horse working underneath and getting the hind end working, really most of the movement that you're getting to get that, coming just from one area here. Okay? So that's a little bit about the spine. Any questions on that level? No? Okay, so the next interesting fact, or I find it interesting, is that you've got a long ligament like a bungee cord attaching right up here, coming all the way along there and coming to the top of this spine. So again, if you just try and imagine that bungee cord, it's constantly helping to hold the horse's neck up or head up. Yeah? And again, I was trying to think of things that are relevant to you guys, but I think the most relevant point about this is that when you do have a horse working with his head down and he's working on the bit and he's nice and relaxed, these spines almost are pulled slightly, so his back opens up and he's able to come underneath and work for you. Whilst if you allow the horse to carry its head quite high, these spines come quite close together because you no longer have that bungee cord pulling on them and keeping them apart and giving it lots of nice space. So, I don't know if anyone ever here has had a horse with kissing spine. Yes? No? Yeah? So again, that's quite a lot to do with these spines riding up against each other. And obviously it's like an arthritis type process, but one way that you can help them is to try and encourage this coming under, this flexion of the spine, this opening up of all the joints and bringing the head and allowing it to come down is one of the ways that you can help them. Again, moving on from that, when we're asking horses to work correctly, you always see these pictures of them kind of, you know, well, they're high dressage obviously. When I'm doing it, it's not quite as nice as that. But, you know, when they're like this, they've got their heads up and they look lovely. Sorry. I'm a demonstrator. Well, again, if you think about what I've just said, it takes a hell of a lot of muscle power around the back and the tummy and a lot of support in order to allow the horse to lift its neck up without shutting those joints up and without closing its back off. So that's a reason why it's important not to get a young horse to lift its head up too early, you know, and not forcing it to work up too quickly, giving it time to build its back muscles, build its strength, build its abdominals, so that when you finally do ask for that shape, it's got the strength to support it and it's not just lifting up its head and hollowing out through its back. Yeah? Nice and simple? I think you should have another beer now. Okay. Right, do you mind turning her around? Again, my drawing skills aren't fabulous, I'm afraid. So I've kept it simple again. I've completely ignored the back end and the front end, so that can be for another day. And I've just concentrated concentrated on the middle bit, which again is the bit that I refer to when I'm doing my exercise. It's the bit I'm most interested in, because if you haven't got the middle bit working, how on earth can you expect the front end and the back end to work either side of it? Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with names, but this is what I'd call your top line. Yeah, so you've got a set of, got many muscles there, but you've got probably three really core ones there. Some of them are deeper, some of them are shallower, some of them are closer to the joints and kind of hug the joints to keep them nice and stable. Some of them are big mover muscles, so when they contract you get a lot of movement. You've got your abdominals, which I consider the bottom line. So you've got, can't see on this one I'm afraid. Well no, I'd have to paint it. So actually you've got one right underneath. Okay, so that's the one that really lifts, and you've got your obliques here, which kind of, anyone ever done sit-ups? Right, so talking of sit-ups, so when you do a straight sit-up, that's the one underneath. You know those horrible ones when you're doing that, that's your obliques. They're the ones that really kind of catch your breath, and but they flatten your stomach really nicely. So, and this is just, this isn't an abdominal, but this is again another muscle that forms part of the core segment, the core stability. Okay, so you've got your top line and you've got your bottom line. Okay, and they need to work together. They work in opposites. So the top line. Let's see if I've got my whip anywhere. Okay, so the top line, if you look at my hand, does that movement, so it hollows, and the bottom line lifts. And I don't know how good your horse is, how responsive your horse is to reflexes. Yeah, I was going to say, after all that jumping, normally I don't want, if you're going to be doing lots of riding, I don't want to be jabbing her too hard, but if you do, you can stimulate those muscles, and you'd see a this kind of, I don't know, demonstrate everything, kind of like that, yeah, sticking your bum out. And equally you can have, you can actually get the abdominals to contract as well, but
oh yeah, yeah.
okay. And then a little bit more obviously. I'm only doing a gentle one, so I don't want to make you feel sore for tomorrow. But that's basically the idea. You can get these movements quite nicely. So that's your hollow, your round. So we've talked about these muscles. When these ones work on their own, so this side only, you get a bit of side bend. So, yeah? Can you see a little bit of side bend there? Yeah, and obviously the other side works the other way. So you've got the idea that they all work kind of together, don't they? So when you're trying to build up a top line, most people just think of the back muscles, but in reality the easiest or the best way to get a really nice relaxed horse working well for you is actually to build up the abdominals. Okay, these abdominals are designed to hold up the abdominal contents constantly up against gravity. Then you go and sit on them and you've got even more weight going down through. They're having to work very, very hard, so the horse's back naturally wants to dip. So you need to have strong abdominals in order to be able to carry the abdominal contents and then carry you as well at the same time. So the problem happens is when your abs are not strong enough, your horse tends to go, right, what can I use? So they hold on, and they hold on to their back muscles and they lift their neck, and they might just flex through the top of their neck through a pole, and that's when you get all the back spasm, you get problems like that, and they're not working underneath you properly. So back to the point, you need to get the abdominals lifting and working in order to allow the back muscles to lengthen and relax, and for the head to drop, and for the hind end to come underneath you. Okay? So, does everyone understand the theory? Okay, I was going to get you
do it.
Not me. I was going to try and get you to, do you understand the concept that they work in opposites and they work together? So I'll see whether, because the demonstration kind of involves your standing up and pulling. I'm not sure that's a good idea with you having had beers. I'll try you just with a basic explanation. But when a horse is moving, it's not just a case of one muscle works and that's that, and then when they move, that side works, and when they move, that side works. They're always on, they're always switched on like that. The idea is that when a horse, let's say, bends to the left, the side on the left shortens, but the side on the right doesn't relax. It has to work, it just has to control the shape of the horse. So one side has to contract and shorten, this side, and one side has to control and lengthen and not just allow the hind end to swing out. Make sense? I can get you up and pulling and pushing.